Today I have a very special individual. I've known her for 3 years, and she has been an amazing individual. Since the moment I actually interviewed with her, she gave me the confidence, and I just knew we were going to get very well. And she accepted me with the agency in open arms, and I learned so many good things. And today I have the privilege of interviewing her. Not only is she a fantastic coworker, she's a mother. She's been a supervisor, a director, and she's worked at various different agencies, and she's actually a licensed therapist as well. So I'll let her talk a little bit about herself. Here's Mayra Roman.
Oh, Jaime, thank you so much. What a great introduction. I really appreciate it. And I am very glad just to be with you here today in this podcast. I have been listening to the previous episodes, and I am learning so much, and I wish you the best. And I know this is going to be a really good tool for a lot of young leaders and even seasoned leaders, people that really want to learn. So I am very privileged just to be here with you, Jaime.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that you liked the show so far. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey and where you are right now and how you've gotten there?
Okay, yeah, of course. My bachelor's in psychology, and I started as a home visitor, going into the homes of the families here in Orange County. I love it. Really enjoy being a home visitor, teaching parents, parenting skills, helping them with case management. And then I did that, for a couple of years. And then I moved into the mental health field. And the reason why I did that is because I went back to school to get my master's in counseling psychology. And one of the things that really motivated me to go back and get my master's was that during my time as a home visitor, I always wanted to refer my clients for therapy. In 6 months waiting, 7 months waiting, because there were not Spanish speaking therapists. And that was so sad. So I said, well, if not me, then who, right? Yeah. So that's what really motivated me. I went back, I got my master's degree. I continued to work as a home visitor. And when I graduated, I continued to be a home visitor, but as a therapist, providing short-term therapy in the homes, working mainly with women. And that was such an amazing experience. After that, I started my career in management to become a supervisor and later on a director. Found management to be so special, because that's an opportunity where you can't impact the community, but in a different level. And not only a community, but your staff. As I was working with clients, and you could only see so many in a week, right? 15, 20, and that's it. Mm-hmm. But I learned that as a manager, if you develop your staff, you can multiply yourself, really impact more and bigger. Mm-hmm. So that really captivated me. And I continued journey. I put aside a little bit my mental health component. And it's been, reason that I am now combining both roles as a director and also as a therapist, and I'm enjoying it. So that's my journey so far professionally.
Okay.
And if I could also mention, Jaime, and raising up my family as well. I am a really proud mother of 2 little girls.
Yes, and they're wonderful individuals. And I know that being a mom, being a wife, being a worker, that's all a lot to juggle, and sometimes they do mix together. And you mentioned the component about mental health. And I know you being a therapist, you know this very well. It is super important to have good mental health wherever you're at, especially at the workplace. So what are one thing you can kind of give advice that you've done to kind of hone yourself down and practice your mental health so you kind of avoid burnout?
Mm-hmm. Doing what you like. If you do what you like, mm-hmm. you're gonna persevere. I really like my job. Oh, sometimes it's not easy, right? But for the most part, I like it. And I always try to keep that. And if I'm not liking it, then I'm aware that I need to do some changes. So just doing what you like and having that support. My husband is my unicorn in a way, right? He really teams with me. We make a team. My family, people around me, my mother-in-law, she supports me so that I can do my role as a professional, but also as a mother. So I guess asking for help,
I think that's great.
that support is really important.
Yes, having a support system is super, super important. I think I wouldn't have been able to do it, like especially in the position that I am now, without your guidance when you were there, and all of the wonderful coworkers that I've had, my supervisor, and even my staff. And outside of work, having my family, my friends, all of those really do help bring you up, because sometimes if we're not in the best work environment, it can be pretty toxic and it can bring you down into a dark place. So having a support system, have someone to talk to, and if for some reason you have a really small support system, getting therapy. Something I recently started learning through a training. I want to kind of pick your brain with it. So there's a term, and you probably know, is secondhand trauma. Especially in the helping field, we can experience secondhand trauma when working with clients with high traumatic life experiences. So if you're working with an individual that has had an event that's causing them to have PTSD, you as a mental health provider can develop also PTSD. So
yes, absolutely, Jaime. Yes, because if you in the first place, if you're in this field, in the helping field profession, it's because you care.
Yeah.
It's because you like people. It's because you want to help. And when you face so many things or people that are so broken, it's hard. It's hard to know, be involved. It's hard not to care, right? Because in the first place, that's why you're here, because you're here to care.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, and as a mental health professional, it's so important to be aware, to learn boundaries, and to have your support, because you cannot come back to your home with your family and bring all of that trauma, right? Because you're not going to be effective. Not in the home, you're not going to be effective at work. So you need to have your boundary, and sometimes that is so hard. That's why having a supervisor, having somebody that will coach you or that will support you is so important in order to last in this field.
I completely agree. We went from the transition from being a home visitor to a home visitor supervisor. Yes. That is something that not many get to actually experience. But you were able to stay within your agency and move up.
Yes.
So with that comes its own challenges of learning to supervise your peers. So if you have to give any advice to any individual that is going through that process, what advice would you say that you've learned that made it a little bit easier, if not that helped you through over the years as you did make that transition?
I will say having a very honest and transparent conversation with your peers. Hey, I haven't given this new opportunity. I am in a new role. And in order for our work to be successful, I need to do my job. And my job might be now calling you out or, doing certain things. But I want you to know that this is not personal, that, I have to do my job, that I still care, that we're still friends, but I need to be in this new role. And I hope that you could be mature enough to understand that. And obviously it's not easy, but what I have seen or what I have learned through the years is just having those very transparent and honest conversations. Because if you don't have it, it's going to be very awkward for you, for your peer, and they're going to think, we can still have the same relationship, but it changed. Relationships are constantly changing. And it requires to be mature to be able to embrace the change.
No, and I'm glad that you said that, because vulnerability, I think, is one of the things that some leaders are scared of because they think that makes them weak. That by being vulnerable, you're showing weakness. But as one of my favorite researchers, Brene Brown, says, vulnerability brings strength. It's one of the most strongest qualities a leader could have, because you're showing your staff, I go through the same emotions that you go through. So let's try to work together and understand each other so that we can get through this and work as a team. And I'm not here to like boss you around or control you, but we're here to work together, not separate.
Exactly. We're working towards one vision and a mission of the organization that you're working for.
I really appreciate that. I know leaders like you that have that quality and have a lot of other qualities that make you a wonderful leader. Talking about qualities, and you mentioned a little bit, there's different qualities that make individuals a unicorn, so that makes them stand out, makes them special in their own way. And those people is you. Like, when I saw you, I learned so much, and I feel like I still can learn a lot. Like every time I have a conversation with you, in my mind, I have a notebook ready, just writing things as you say things, because I'm like, that's really good information. That's really good advice. And you've inspired me to do so many great things. I've copied and mimicked a lot of your supervising styles. And I constantly think, what would Mayra do in this situation? And I was like, okay, so let me do it that way.
Stop it.
Well, I think that those are the reasons I think you're a unicorn. So what are some things that you feel you see in other people and you're like, wow, that's a unicorn quality?
To me, Jaime, thing that really stands up, whenever I'm managing people, it's when I find an individual or an employee that is trustworthy. That's to me, that's gold, because not every employee, can be trustworthy.
That's very true.
And as a manager, I can work with many individuals, right? But on my mind, I would always have those that I know I can trust in them. Maybe they are not going to be the smartest ones. And I need the smartest one as well in my team, right? But if there is a moment where I need to pick and choose, I would always pick and choose the trustworthy individual, because that means I can carry out a vision. I can carry out a project because I have people around me that I can trust. That if I say, okay, let's do this, well, let's do it. Their yes is yes and their no is no, that they are consistent. To me, that's a unicorn. As a manager, whenever I'm hiring or picking people to work with me, I want those qualities.
That's a really good quality to have. And like you said, it's really hard to have somebody that authentically and genuinely wants to be there for the right reasons. Maybe motivated by just the income. And you need somebody that's going to be there for the cause, especially for those positions that are working with vulnerable populations like our clients. Because if we hire individuals that are not there for the right reason, we're doing our clients a disservice.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
You know why I think you're a unicorn. So what are some qualities that you think that make you a unicorn?
Oh, that is hard to answer, right? I think I'm a unicorn, Jaime, because I think I can bring people together. I'm a good team player. And in my teams, I can bring them together, even if they don't really like each other. Somehow, I think I'm a good influencer on the team, and I can assist people in, now we're going to work on this project. It's not my benefit, but it's our benefit. I think I'm really good at using we instead of I. I think that's one of the qualities that I'll say I'm a unicorn. Besides that, I think that I am a unicorn because I am a Latina, because I speak Spanish. I'm a unicorn because I was born and raised in a different country. I know the challenges of, coming here and learning the language and learning the culture and still do good, embrace this country. So that's what I think, Jaime.
And it's amazing because when I see individuals like yourself that have gone through those challenges and still can not only be a leader, a person that inspires and has a great personality, like that you're able to inspire others, that it inspires me to want to even be better. Individuals that I have around me, you need to have individuals that can consistently inspire you to continue doing better, that are constantly pushing you. And having people like you in my life allow me to shine brighter. So thank you for being you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And you know that you also challenge me constantly. And that's good. So I agree with you. Having people around you that will call you out, that will challenge you to do better, it's so important if you want to grow.
Mhm.
Because if not, yeah, obviously, you can have the people around you that are gonna say what you want to hear, but maybe not what you need to hear.
Exactly.
Right? It's a key. It's a key if you want to grow.
Yes. If not, we get complacent.
Yes, yes. And you have calling me out many times.
And I will continue to do so.
I appreciate that.
What is one of the biggest challenges or life lessons that you have learned either in your work or in your personal life?
I think one of the biggest lessons is embracing, believing you can be a unicorn, that you can be a good influence. It's so easy for me to see the good in others, right? Yes, this you have these qualities. You're such a good leader, but sometimes it's hard to see it in us. And to me, that has been a challenge. And it's not always easy, but I recognize that you need to raise up, because if you don't do it, like I said previously, then who? And there is a lot of need out there.
How do you remind yourself, or how do you get out of your head? Because I think a lot of that is imposter syndrome.
Yes.
You go into a new position or a new place, and I don't know if I belong here. I don't know if I'm good enough to do this. And you're in a constant fight with yourself, and it's exhausting.
Yes, absolutely, Jaime. To me, what has helped is just setting a goal. Everything has a process. I'm just reminding myself it's a process. I don't have to be in control of everything. I don't have to learn every single thing on the first month. I don't have to be liked by every single one of my coworkers and employees. It's a process. It takes time. And my telling me those things constantly helps me to be more at ease. Understand that I'm a human too, right?
I think that's great advice, because I know I've experienced it. I still experience it today. I've been a supervisor for going on 8-9 years. And sometimes I'm like, should I really be doing this? Like actually making like a change. And when I was a caseworker, I was told, you're not always going to see the change that you're making. You can be helping clients every single day, and they're never going to say thank you. You may not see a change, but years later, it's a gradual change that what you're doing to them. And I think the same concept and lesson can be applied with our staff. They may not thank you right now, and they may see that what you're putting them through is hard, it's unnecessary, and it doesn't make sense to them. But later on in life, they're like, thank you, Mayra, for teaching me this. Thank you, Jaime, for putting this in my head. And I think that's one of the hardest things as a supervisor, because you're like, they hate me,
Yeah, but if at the end of the day you're okay with yourself, and that and you know that you did your job, you put those seeds out there. Some of them are gonna grow now, some of them are gonna grow later on.
Mhm.
But your job was done. Sometimes you're the one that plants the seed. Other times you are the one that is gonna grow the tree, and sometimes you'll be the one that is going to just receive, right, all these results.
Mm-hmm. So, being a supervisor, what do you think is one of the most important things, other than putting aside meeting goals, putting aside meeting the daily tasks? If everything is good, like you say, you trained your staff, that everything's doing well, the program's doing well, what is an important thing that you need to do as a supervisor to help shape your staff to be like better, or even the future leaders of tomorrow?
Caring for your staff. You have to provide the staff with an environment, with an atmosphere with a culture where they can't grow, where they can fulfill their potential.
Mm-hmm.
So if they are doing with goals and the program is doing good, it's just asking, caring, where do you see yourself? What do you see that you want to do? How can I help you to reach your goal? I can be a better support for you. I think that really makes a big impact in employees, where you see that you have a supervisor that really also cares for you as an individual.
Yes. And I think that's one of the
boundaries and everything, right? But yes. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. Yeah, I think so. Setting boundaries is super important, because I think that's where a lot of individuals struggle, because they want to show that they care. They want to give out a hand, but they're like, what is that bound? When do I cross that line? I don't want to be able to have them not respect me anymore because they see me more as a friend than their supervisor. But being able to still keep that professional relationship by showing you, hey, I care about you and where you want to go.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And just being able to do that, I think, will not only gain the respect of the individual, but it makes them want to stay there longer, because they're like, what, you know what? I can learn a lot from this individual. I think this leader can actually do a lot more for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Who is the unicorn in your life that you feel has impacted you the most and has made you the person that you are today?
Well, I don't have only one. I think I have a lot of unicorns. I can mention a few. I think my sisters, I have a sister that she's very smart, and she really inspired me to do good, to learn. I have another sister that she's not that smart, but she's so wise.
Yes.
She's not academically or book smart, but she's so wise.
Mm-hmm.
And she has inspired me to bring balance to my life, wisdom. My husband, I think he's very brave. So he has inspired me to take challenges. A spiritual mentor, he has also really inspired me in just having that part of myself, that spirituality, and so good. So it's not only one unicorn. I think I have a lot of people in my life that I consider them unicorns. And I think it goes back to what we were talking before, the support system.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The importance of it, your mentors, your family, the people that adds to you.
Yeah, and I think it's important to acknowledge all of those individuals, because sometimes we take people for granted and we're just, they're there, but you can always learn something from someone, regardless of, like you said, how smart they are, where they're from, who they are. Even if they're younger than you, I've learned so many things from my staff or individuals that are like 10 years younger than me. And I'm like, I would have never known that,
Absolutely. I think it's just having that mindset of, I want to learn. And if you want to learn, you can learn from anybody and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have that humility to learn, to be able to want to.
You have to keep an open mind, for sure.
Yes, exactly.
And if you want our listeners to take one thing out of today, and it could be something you said or something brand new, what is one piece of advice that you would give them so that they can be a unicorn, so that they can embrace themselves and want to do better in the future?
Okay. I think my advice comes from a Colombian public speaker. His name is Joko Kenji. I love what he says, and I live by it because I think it's so true. He says, soon or later, consistency and discipline will overcome intelligence. I don't consider myself somebody very intelligent, but I do consider myself somebody that knows how to be disciplined and consistent.
Mhm.
And because of those attributes, sooner or later, I have been given great opportunities. And not because I'm the most smart person, right, or the best option, but because I have shown consistency and the quality that I spoke before, trustworthy. So my advice for your listeners, Jaime, for all of those people that are in leadership, that are already leaders, be consistent, be trustworthy. I think those are great attributes that will open the doors soon or later. So I think that's what I will advise.
That is great. And I think that wow, I'm still processing it. I think it was great. That's really great. And I think it's right. You need to be consistent. You need to be able to consistently show up every day and be authentically yourself. Be the person that you want to be. And it just reminded me of, I forget the exact quote, but they said, if you dream that you can be there, the first thing you need to do is show up. That's the
Yes.
first step. Show up and do it every single day. By showing up, you're at least showing I am working towards that goal. I am going to put everything in. And you said you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You don't even have to be the most talented. But as long as you show up, you can overcome even those individuals because you're being consistent and you're showing them that I am reliable. And at the end of the day, when you need me, you know I'm going to be there.
Exactly. Well said.
But that was amazing. I think I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna put in a sticky note, stick it on my whiteboard and in my mirrors. I can see that every day. Thank you. But I think that pretty much wraps all the questions I have for you. I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your very busy schedule. Because not only do you work a 9-to-5 job, but you also have a second shift at your home with your family. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to meet with me and have this talk and give this advice to everybody and our listeners. And is there anything else that you would like to close up with or anything else you want to say?
Other than I am that it is my pleasure to be here, and that I wish you the best, and please keep listening to this great podcast. You're gonna find a lot of gold, a lot of pearls that you could apply the next day or immediately after the podcast. So yeah, thank you, Jaime. It's been a great experience and a pleasure.
Thank you so much. And for your listeners, I said if you like this content, feel free to hit the subscribe button. The show and every other show is always posted on Fridays at 8 a.m. So continue listening. And thank you, Mayra, once again. And I hope everyone will see you next week. Bye.